Very warm welcome to Happy Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Nadine and I'm coming to you from northern New South Wales, Australia, and I'm originally from Montreal, Canada. My husband, my two daughters, and myself have been living here for about just over 12 years. I'm coming to you from a new location in the house today. I don't know why, but just to switch it up a bit. So we live in a very small house, so I'm actually just looking at where I normally film from. I'm just on the opposite side. I hope that the lighting is okay. Okay, I didn't film an episode last week, and I'm not sure if you've heard, but everything's okay, but we were supposed to have a cyclone, level 2, and it was called Cyclone Alfred. So I'm not too sure, but I think that in the Northern Hemisphere, these things are called hurricanes, and in the Southern Hemisphere, they're called cyclones. I'm not sure why, though I do think they spin in the opposite direction, just like the toilets flush, the water spins in the opposite direction in the Southern Hemisphere. So we were anticipating around where I live, but actually all the way up to the Sunshine Coast, all the way down to just south of us, we were anticipating to get a cyclone level 2. It was over the ocean, and it was heading out, and it was meant to whip around and hit the coast. It was meant to hit, the eye of the storm was meant to hit in Brisbane, and then everywhere south, like where we live, was meant to get heaps of rain and wind and potential flooding. But luckily, as it came in, it kind of slowed down, and it hit much later, like a couple of days, maybe even 2 days later than it was meant to. And by the time it came to shore, it was downgraded. So it's ex-Cyclone Alfred. It was downgraded to a tropical storm low, I think it was. And so, thank goodness. And the area that I live, we do get a lot of flooding. I live close to Lismore. So if you're familiar, Lismore a couple years ago had a horrendous flood. You know, my friend had to be rescued off the roof of her house. So much was destroyed in the town and so many homes. And so it was a very stressful time for people in our area. Where we live now, we're on top of a hill. So we ourselves are not really at risk, though the bottom of our street does get, like the street that intersects with our street does get flooded. So we did have the potential of getting stuck here. We did lose power, but we were pretty lucky. I think in our area, some people lost power for maybe 4 days. We were lucky. We just lost it in 2 stints of about 12 hours. What we were really worried about was at work. So our work is just kind of 5 minutes walk from where I live here, but we lost power at work. And my husband and I have a coconut ice cream and yogurt business. So we were very worried that our big freezer, if we lost power, that our ice cream would melt. But luckily, it went out, but not for too long. So, we checked and all of our ice cream was okay, thank goodness. So yeah, it was interesting. It was kind of nice in one way. My eldest daughter graduated high school, so she's kind of home and working. So she's usually around, but my youngest daughter is very busy. She goes to a dance school, so she does school and dance in the mornings, and then sometimes in the evenings. So sometimes she's out of the house for 12 hours. And then she also works. So she's very busy. So she got a little bit of home time, which was really nice. Good for her, I think, too, to just have a bit of chill out time. But it was really nice for all of us to be together again. And, with the power out, so you got the candles, and we played lots of board games. We played lots of 5 Crowns, if you're familiar with that game. Bananagrams. Yeah, so it was nice to have a little bit of chill out time with the family. And of course, we couldn't go to work. There was no power. So I got some extra knitting time in, which was nice. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that, it wasn't as bad for everybody. I know the beaches, there was a lot of erosion, which is very sad. But I think that's kind of part of, the sands, they get eroded, and then the ocean eventually washes it all back up. So hopefully everything's going to be okay there. Sorry, I know this is a knitting podcast. I just got on a tangent. talking about why I didn't make an episode last week. So okay, I've had really bad allergies also since the ex-Cyclone Alfred. So drinking some immunity tea, been having lots of vitamin C, and yeah, my eyes are really itchy and puffy, and yeah, not fun. Okay, on to knitting, which is why you've tuned in. Okay, so I have 3 works in progress to talk about today. The first one is the socks that I'm making for my husband, which I have talked about before in previous episodes. I'm using Patons Kroy. I think it's not Patons, it's Patons. Not to be confused with the Patons in Australia. I'm not even sure if it's the same company or just coincidence that they have the same name. I'm not sure. So yeah, this is the color, kind of, it's got browns and greens, a little bit of red, and a little bit of like a rusty color. And I spoke about how I was not able to find not only the same dye lot, but not even the same year or anything. They were, they were very different, unfortunately. And now I don't mind if they're not exactly matching, but I gotta say, pretty disappointing. I wouldn't have minded if this one went from like an orangey brown to a green and this one did the opposite, but this one was almost entirely green. And so I had to do a little bit of color management and find a spot. I see on the inside here, I found a spot that had a little bit of the orange. So I, broke the yarn. I mean, maybe it's apparent that I've changed spots here and another one here, but I mean, I had to try to make them match a little bit. So anyways, he doesn't care. He's just happy to have hand knit socks. Ooh, a little end poking out there. But yeah, a bit disappointing. In hindsight, if I were to reknit these, which I am not going to, I think I would have striped the 2, and then I think I would have liked it better had I have striped it. But yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen as I was knitting it up, because it looked like the stripes were going to be, or the fades were going to be quite long, and yeah, you never really know by looking at a color changing yarn. I just had an idea that I didn't think of before. I probably should have looked on Ravelry or just looked on Google the Patons Kroy, I think it's called FX, and then I could have looked at the color number and then seen what it was going to look like. Let that be a lesson for me next time, or if you're deciding to do the same thing, that's what I should have done. Oh well. Just to mention also, for the toes, heels, and cuffs, I'm using Nettle sock, which is a non-plastic sock yarn that uses nettle instead of nylon. So very excited to see how that goes, because I've mixed it with the Patons Kroy, which I think does have nylon. In fact, I think it is superwash. Oh, the onion is also superwash, but a different non-plasticky superwash. So hopefully they'll go all right together. Fingers crossed. Okay. Oop. On to my next work in project, which is the Alpine bloom. I am nearly done. I've actually decided to, I just mentioned quickly, the navy blue in this is Holst Coast, and I held it single. And the color changing yarn is, of course, the infamous Dyed in the Wool by Spin Cycle. The color is Mississippi Masala, and I did do a fair bit of color work management here to try to get the flowers to be the more orangey red colors and the leaves to be more the blue color. And yeah, I'm very pleased with how that worked out. I did not do the lace on the neckband or the sleeves, and I am not going to do it on the bottom. I don't think it is called for on the bottom, but what I did do though is I did do these yarn over holes, because I thought they looked pretty cool on the sleeves as well. And actually right right after I split for sleeves, I just picked up and I did those holes straight away and did a couple of rows of 1x1 rib. And I just decided that, okay, I'll admit it, I was getting a bit tired of doing the stockinette in the round. There's actually a lot of stitches on this. The yarn is very thin. So it was just taking forever. And I kind of also decided, like I tried it on, and I think I decided that I wanted it to be cropped, whereas in the pattern, it's a little bit longer. So what I did was I held it up to a cropped top that I already have, which is the Soldotna crop. I wore it in the video 2 weeks ago, so if you wanted to check it out. So I held it up and I just basically matched the underarm together, and I just looked at the length there and I decided that's good. That's long enough because it matched up to the Soldotna. And I did another row of those yarn overs, and then I'm gonna move into 1x1 rib, but I think I'm gonna do it, for quite a lot. I like to have quite a long ribbing. I don't like knitting long ribbing, but I do like the look of it. So that's what I'm gonna do there. Yes, I think that is all I have to mention about that. So yeah, that's all I have to do is ribbing. Hopefully, oh sorry, that's also what I have to do is ribbing on that sock. So it looks like it's gonna be a lot of 1x1 ribbing for me this week, because I do hope to finish those. I'm not usually someone who has a lot of WIPs on the go. I like to normally start one and finish it, but yeah, I don't. I have 3 WIPs. I forgot to mention what I'm wearing. This is the Beppu top, and it's by, the pattern is by the brand of yarn, which is called, so I wrote it down, Ito yarn. So you know that, I think it's a Japanese brand, and they have a lot of really interesting yarns on these kind of skinny little cones. And I'm pretty sure this top was meant to be knit in one of their paper yarns, which is really cool. But I had this airy pea silk that I bought on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, I think it's by, I don't know, if you're Australian, you might know the guy on Facebook. His name is, oh shoot, Gary? Gary on Facebook, and he's in the Australian knitters group, and he used to sell a lot of really cool yarn, a very unique yarn, but I think he's kind of switched over to selling a lot of roving for spinning. But anyways, I'm pretty sure I got it from him. And the airy pea silk, I'm pretty sure that silk is, you know, made from silk, which is made by silkworms. So they spin their little cocoons, and then I think, unfortunately, how they normally get silk is they have to kill the moth, and then they unravel the silk, and it comes, you know, meters and meters of yarn. But the pea silk, I think, is, they do not kill the moth. So what happens is the moth has to eat its way out of the cocoon, and that breaks, you know, a lot of the fibers, so they're not very long. But the pea silk is actually made from one of those cocoons that has been, you know, eaten up a little bit, and they somehow still managed to spin yarn out of it. So airy pea silk. I had to look it up because I wasn't sure what it was. So I held it double because I think it was quite thin, and it's not very shiny like most silk. It's kind of, and it feels almost like cotton, but it's a very, very lovely fiber for when it's hot, which it is here at the moment. And I dyed this with food coloring, kind of like a pink color. And yeah, I think it has faded a lot since I made it, but yeah, it's still quite pretty. And yeah, this pattern is free, I believe, and it's extremely easy. It's basically just 2 squares, and then yeah, you just pick up stitches and do a little bit of ribbing here, and then you just do a little bit of ribbing on the arms. So it honestly couldn't be easier. And oh yeah, I was gonna mention also, speaking of free patterns, somebody on the Australian Knitters page on Facebook had mentioned that a designer who is known as, I did write it down, where did I write it? Okay, I think her name is Audrey Borrego. Yep, Audrey Borrego. and her username is Yarn Flakes. She recently made all of her patterns free on Ravelry. So I just had a look, and I put 2 into my library that I thought were really beautiful. All of them are really beautiful, but 2 that I was quite keen to knit as a summer top. One was called Xyris, XYRS, and the other one was called Hermeline. And they're just 2 really beautiful lacy looking tops that I think would be really nice. I feel like I kind of missed the boat on knitting summer tees this year. I don't think I knit any summer tees, though I do have a lot. But I think maybe for next summer I might consider making those. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention it because she very generously decided to make her patterns free, and yeah, they're beautiful. Okay, that was another tangent. Okay, back to my works in progress. So last year, but before I started making podcasts, I knit this Corran cardigan. I feel like only just before I started doing the podcast. I knit it with Holst Coast again, held double, and I wear this a lot. It's a great cardigan to wear between seasons. So because it's the cotton wool, the Holst Coast, and also it's got so many holes in it that it's just, it's very cozy to wear. I'll just try it on to show you. And so I am knitting another one out of the same yarn, but the problem I have with this is I made it a little bit too small. So I think I knit the size 3. However, even with this yarn held double, I think it was not quite the right thickness for the pattern, so it ended up being smaller. So, and also maybe the cotton content is not as stretchy as wool, so yeah, it's just a little bit too small. And yeah, the buttons that I used to have on here, I had smaller buttons. They would I'd be wearing and they would go pop, 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 they would pop open. So I had to re-sew these larger buttons on, and I just noticed I'm missing a button. I've got a bit of a hole here, so I've got to mend. Oh, there's another little funky thing happening here. I've got a bit of mending to do on this sweater. Anyways, I do not have the air conditioning on, and it's a little bit too warm to wear this right now. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that I had made it a little bit too small, and unfortunately I did not have this as a project on Ravelry at the time. I think I just uploaded it now. By the way, on Ravelry, my name is Knitteeny, Kniteeny, if you were curious to look at my Ravelry, which yeah, I don't do a great job of putting my patterns on, my projects on there. But anyways, I did not write the needles that I use, but I'm pretty sure that I used the needles called for in the pattern, because I usually do that. So, knowing that I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, I decided to go up. So I'm using a 6mm for the body, and I think I used a 5mm for the ribbing, and yeah, I really like it. Oh, so sorry. I'm using the same yarn again, but I'm actually using 2 different colors. So this one is called Raspberry, and this one is called Bourgogne, which means burgundy. So I'm holding these 2 together, and it's making this really pretty color. Yeah, I really like that. I'm very happy with how that came out. It's knitting up super fast. This is, again, the Corran cardigan by the Kroy Rebecca Clow. It's very fun to knit. It's like a 4-row repeat, very intuitive, and like colorwork knitting, you'll know when you're going wrong or if you've dropped a stitch straight away, because of just how lace works. You'll be going along, and if you made a mistake, you'll be like, huh? And then you'll see what you've done, rip back, and all good. And what else do I have to say about it? It definitely feels a lot different from this one with the different tension. Yeah, wow, the holes, yeah, it's much drapier and the holes are much bigger. So yeah, so this one, Rebecca Clow, all of her patterns, like, she's so generous. She offers so many different options, you know, different sleeves, different necks, different, you know, t-shirt, sweater. She's really so generous with her patterns and all the different varieties that she offers. Anyways, this one I had done with the V-neck, but I'm thinking that I might go with the round neck for this color. Yeah, just for something different and just to see what it's like to knit the different construction with the round neck. And yeah, why not? Okay, I think that is all that I have to talk about for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you get to make something beautiful with your hands this week. Please like this video if you like this video. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, that would be really great. And yeah, I feel like I need to check because I feel like it might be a year since I started doing the podcast. So yeah, I'll have a look and let you know next week. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching.